Ms. Ulrike Kelm has been the chair for Women in Water Sanitation Network for more than 5 years now. And thank you so much, Ulrika, for taking the time to speak with me today. Good morning to you, Ulrika. How are you doing?
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Yes, of course. So, to just give a little bit of an introduction, my name is Sophia Alejandra, and I'm really interested in exploring marine conservation and water management in the Philippines. And I'm currently working on a passion project where I am blogging on topics such as water conservation and marine life. And then through this interview series, I would love to speak with men and women who are making impact in the water sector, and I would love to start by telling my viewers a little bit about you. Ms. Ulrike Kelm has been the chair for Women in Water Sanitation Network for more than 5 years now. And thank you so much, Ulrika, for taking the time to speak with me today.
Thank you very much for having me, and thank you very much for considering me as an interview partner for your project. I really feel really honored and flattered for this. Yeah, my name is Ulrike Kelm. I'm a German national working internationally in the water and sanitation sector for over 20 years now. And some 5 years ago, in 2019, some women in the sector, who we've always met on different and joint projects, working together, knowing each other, we thought like it would be important to strengthen our position in the water sector as professional women, because it's quite male-dominated sector,
Yeah.
and it's really important that we meet and that we can network freely and openly, because women and male style is a little bit different in networking.
Yeah.
And this is why a group of women came together and founded the Women in Water and Sanitation Network. And I have joined it in the beginning as a founding member from
Mhm.
the first cohort of members. And then 2 years later, I started to work as chair for this network. And this means like we meet with all the women that we find in the sector, we engage with them, and they join us on a voluntary basis to work or only to benefit from network meetings or capacity trainings that we offer. So it's a quite loose volunteering network, and we are very broad. We are international. We are represented in all different parts of the world and all the regions from America to Oceania. We have members, so that's really exciting to have all the professional women on board in my network.
Yeah. Actually, it was really lovely to meet you in Bali. And if I'm correct, that networking event was run by the Women in Water Sanitation Network.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
we were at the 10th Water Forum
Mhm.
that happened to take place in Bali earlier this year.
Yeah.
And we had several events on, some were gender related because we network with a lot of women organizations who focus on different types of networking. We met there and we had run joint events, but we were also represented in, let's call it, not gender focused events, but water and sanitation sector focused events. So
Yeah.
that was our activities, and that's where you and I met.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Moving on to actually my first question. I was just wondering what led you to initially be interested in the water sector and spend most of your career in different water-related firms?
I started off in the water sector actually by accident because I wanted to work in international relations. I had studied the career of international relations at university, and I just happened to land my first job at the German Development Corporation sector, which and in my position, I was involved in organizing a government-hosted conference on water. And
Oh,
I found out then that water was really touching all different aspects of development, all different aspects of societies or science. And I thought like, wow, I have everything there I can dream of. I can work with people, I can work with technology, I can work with latest in the science and research. And this is where I got stuck.
Yeah.
This is how I entered in the water and sanitation sector. And I continued working in international relations, trying to move policy processes through my work. Of course, if I can say I did it, no. It's such big sector. It's global, it's international, and policy process are a very strong tool. So I worked for company organizations who lobby in the policy processes, who work directly for the policy processes. Like, for example, I used to work for United Nations, giving the platform to the stakeholders involved. And I find this extremely interesting and fascinating to see how the different stakeholders come together and formulate international laws that go down to national or regional laws. And it's absolutely fascinating to see how everybody comes together, putting their political will together and try to move things forward.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
this
I
is
think
my
I
rationale behind it.
yeah, I really think that is the beauty of the water sector. It's so multifaceted and it really does open all these doors of opportunity for all different kinds of people. So it's it's very interesting that you got yourself into this kind of world. And then
Yeah, you can also say I couldn't make up my mind where to specialize on because it's so broad. It's really including everything, environment, it's including peace processes, it's including security or health or human rights, and it works on economy, societies, and you can work on children or you can work on environmental protection. I really love it. It's everything is there. It's the whole world is in the water sector. And well, we always say water is life, and that's it. Without water and safely managed sanitation, we cannot exist and we die.
yeah.
That's it.
I
So
mean,
I'm happy to contribute.
yeah, I really do agree with that because yeah, scientifically we are made up of like a lot of water. We use water in our everyday lives, and I really do think to some extent the water industry doesn't get as much credit as it deserves, and I don't think to a normal person they realize how how multifaceted this world is, and this is also why I'm doing this interview series so that more people get to see all these different kinds of sides and all these different roles. So,
Yeah.
on a more specific note, though, could you tell us what attracts you to working within communications and political communication within the water industry? Because you did mention stuff about technology, but what about the communication sector?
Well, communication is actually floating in between everything. And that's really interesting. You translate complicated um, facts or complicated research or complicated political decisions or complicated situations into the language the different audiences understand. So that's the beauty of communication because everything we do is communication. Every company does communication, and even in the structure of their own business plan, they do communication. So it's such a broad subject to work on communications, but it's absolutely essential because there you can create trust. There you can provide there you can share the very important data that is needed to do plannings and to get informed decision making in place, etc. So that's the beauty of communication, and political communication is of course getting really into the different countries, cultures, and into the different processes to really get into political communication. And the political communication changes from institution or organism to every culture we'll deal with. So that's absolutely fascinating to dive deep into this. And it's really in between all the decision makers trying to bring them together, trying to get them agreeing on something,
Mhm.
trying to make them see and visualize what they do. For example, when we say, yeah, we need to do something for health, then we get the data together, like safely managed sanitation is important. Currently, there's 3.5 billion people around the globe not using or not benefiting from safely managed sanitation, and this makes people die on a daily basis. And then then we can say that 1,000 children, for example, die every day on preventable diseases caused by unsafe water and unsafe sanitation.
Mm.
If we don't repeat this data, if we don't prove this data, which is part of the communications task, people don't get the emergency. So we communicate the emergency, we bring these messages out, and we narrow down the focus on the real essentials, and we communicate the too much, too little, too dirty water message that is all around the globe. And we need to work for better and to communicate on this.
Yeah. So would you say that communication bridges the gaps in the water sector, like throughout, like, within like different countries, different regions, and like, different sectors of the water industry, whether that deals with the more of the people or more of the technology?
We all do communication always. So everybody that when you go to a meeting, the people in the meeting, in conferences, they do communication. When they speak, this is communication, etc. So, and I'm just in the middle. I try to support the experts in helping get all the information they need together and help to focus them. So the communication is actually a very serving part of work.
Yeah.
But for me, it's very interesting because I learn every day. I learn every day on all the different topics. I don't stuck to one subject. I have to learn and I have to study on a daily basis on all the different subjects to be able to provide these services to the decision makers or to the companies, to the people who or to structure the communication focus of each organization I've been working for.
Yeah, and I really do find like all this like very fascinating because again it does delve into like all these different worlds and how they interconnect. And I just was wondering, like, with the wide range of roles that you have worked with and how you worked with a bunch of different countries, which role did you find most exciting, or which country did you enjoy living in the most?
Oh, which work did I find most? I have been working for over 20 years and have lived in like I think 7 different countries and worked on missions and more. And I must say, every single let's call it job, every single job I had, I think is it's always the most interesting one. Every time I work on things, I love it, and the current one is always the best one. But when I look back, the others were the best ones too. So I really can't prioritize the positions. Of course, it's always a learning curve. Now I know more than I did 20 years ago, but it's definitely, I think what's fascinating for me is that in this water sector, it's always international. Even if you work on a national or local level, you interact with others. I think this is the most fascinating that I have. And when I've worked in developing countries, also in emerging situations, and you always see the essence that we work with. And even in developed countries and rich countries, you see it's a 24 hours job to work on the water sector. And it's hard work, no matter how developed the country is and how much technology this country has. It's always a 24/7 job. And it's if this fails, the whole society is in a yeah, let's call it in a difficult situation. And you go then to a very poor country where people really have not much technology, not the advanced technology, but there you can see that in the water sector, even without high tech, you can manage. And this is so fascinating, the big span between much money and not much money, and everywhere it's possible because it's we deal all with water, we deal all with the same pollution type of pollution, we have the knowledge and we can share the knowledge. And then you see that in the water sector, there's such a big solidarity. Experts travel from one part to the other to support, to exchange, and that's the beauty. I really, for me, this is the beauty of the water sector. So I really can't say which country I enjoy most. I would say I love the ice cream in Italy and I love the food in Mexico, but it's not that. It's really everywhere where I've worked, you really see the big solidarity in the water and sanitation sector because they all know it's life-saving what they're doing. It's really life-saving.
Very true. And I think it does motivate a lot of people to work in the water sector, does it not? Yeah.
Everybody is so passionate in the sector. It
Yeah.
never gets boring because people are really passionate about what they do. Yeah, this is what I love. So I absorb this and this keeps me motivated to work on this.
Yeah, so given like all these various roles you've had before and now as the chair of the Women in Water and Sanitation Network, do you what common thread or what big lesson have you taken with your old roles and have applied to your current position as the chair?
Sorry, I didn't get the question. Sorry. Can you
Oh,
please repeat?
oh yeah. Just given all of your roles, what was the common thread or the biggest lesson you've learned from all of these old roles and how have you applied it to your current role?
Oof, the biggest lesson. Stay passionate about and keep on learning. It's a lifelong learning. So you cannot just start and say, okay, I finished school and that's it. It's you always have to keep on learning on your profession, but also on the other professions that are around to understand your colleagues, to understand the other sector, the other branches in the sector.
Yeah.
And it's a never-ending story. You learn. You have to be open for learning, and that's something I really like. And I mean, not just being open to exchange with your colleagues, but also to look into courses or to study, to really study the subjects because it's big, and it's too important to not continue learning.
Yeah. I think like yeah, the throughout, everybody's life we do have to continue learning to adapt to new environments, new issues, and obviously the water sector sees this all the time because we have ever emerging issues and they keep growing, they keep getting solved, and it's like an ever changing world, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. No, for example, when I started, I never thought about that gender in the work sector,
Hmm.
working in the sector would be something important. Of course, we always hear about the gender side that women carry the water, women are pregnant, women get children, they have to care for the family's health, they have to provide the water for the families all around the globe. So I was always aware of this part of the gender discussion about how society has split up the roles and responsibilities. But then when I found out, and together with me, my colleagues, my female colleagues, that it's also the workforce that is stuck in gender roles. And then you start learning about it. It's something, it was really a new subject for me. And now I keep on learning about how gender roles in companies are, how different organizations are facing the gender roles, how women and men behave differently all around the globe in all the different cultures. Of course, I'm not because we cannot say that we are all the same in the same societies. Our gender roles in societies are always differ a little bit, and the roles that we are having differ. So we really can't say what works for Western Germany works for Southeast Asia. No, so this is something that we have to be aware of when we talk about the gender roles. But at the same time, we see that we have a lot in common. And we see also that companies have a lot in common when they work on when they put more emphasis on women in the sector and women working in the companies. So there are a lot of studies around it. And so I had to learn this. And this is a real new subject for me. I really had to learn on the data, on the research they did on how women in leading positions in company change the companies for the better. change the either for internal for the staff or and workers or outside for the performance. And that's something very interesting. So there are really nice studies on this. For example, they find out that I have to read it. I'm sorry, I'm looking on my other screen.
Yeah.
Companies with gender diverse executives teams are 21% more likely to experience above average profitability.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I think this is something we should really, this is something you should study. So this really helps you. It's not a feeling, it's really there. It's measurable, it's tangible. It's not a feeling that there's something happening or might happen. No, the gender roles in companies all around the globe really perform better when they look also in having female leadership
Yes.
and gender equity in their program. So this is something I really learned new and I had to study, and I'm really really excited about studying new stuff,
Yeah.
new topics,
Yeah.
and with this supporting to the overall water and sanitation sector.
Yeah, for sure. And on that note, I was very curious, what exact responsibilities do you shoulder while being a chair of the Women in Water and Sanitation Network?
So sorry, can you repeat the question? I really didn't
Oh,
hear
sorry.
well.
Um, I was just curious, like, what exact responsibilities do you shoulder while being the chair of the Women in Water Sanitation Network?
Oh, well, the overall responsibility is being there and pushing it forward together with the team and to advocate for women in professional women in the water and sanitation sector. So all advocacy strategies, but it's really like an overarching role. Let's call it like this. So it's not it's just putting things together and see that we are all on the same page, that we don't get disconnected in within the organization. So that's a typical role of a chair. So not to let people get disconnected, to get them together. And this is extremely difficult when it's a fully volunteering
Mm,
organization because people have also their obligations like a paid job or they study at university or they write their PhD and then they have also their life responsibilities like the family obligations, etc. So it's very difficult to be a fully volunteering project. But at the same time, it's the beauty because the people who join, they do it because they see the beauty out in this, they see it with passion, and they see that it benefits everybody. So we have to wait it a little bit.
yeah. It really does seem like a beautiful part of your network. And actually, it's something I didn't know at first. So it's really insightful to hear it. And I was also curious as to what are some of the challenges you had to face as a woman in this field, and do you feel like there's a dearth of women in leadership roles in the water sector? Because you did mention it though.
Well, I would like to just cite a study from the World Bank, which is actually the only real study
Mhm,
on women in water utilities around the globe.
mhm,
And they said that on average, 23% of licensed engineers are women in utilities.
mhm,
So we know that at university, we have more women studying engineering careers. So where are they after the job?
mhm,
After they enter a job, what do they do? Do they work as licensed engineers? And there I really recall two stories I heard from women in the sector who are licensed engineers who work in utilities. One is from Western Africa, the other one is from Indonesia. So it's two real examples. Both said nearly the same. It's nearly the same wording. It feels like they had a script book they read up, but it's real life experience from them. Both these female engineers said that their companies hired them as engineers, but wanted to keep them in the office, writing emails and doing admin. But because they said it's too not safe for a woman to be outside in the field and do the engineering, measuring, and the field work, they actually do as a licensed engineer. So I think this is something really surprising when we hear this. They say companies don't want them to do their job. They keep them in a position they don't like because both said we're not good in writing emails and we get frustrated. And then we see at the same time that they lose knowledge, they lose brain they could use for the companies. And this is a problem you find everywhere around the globe. So these two examples are from Western Africa and from Asia, and they're nearly the same experience, different cultures, different religions, different background, different languages, and still the same situation for these women. I think this is something we should definitely work on. And this is something absolutely measurable because you can just go into the companies and have a look around. And
Yeah.
this is what we work on. This is something we are really interested in making it better. And now I forgot, I think the link to your question. Have I answered your question or have I
Yes.
just got
Yeah.
turned away by my passion on this subject?
No, no, of course not. Of course not. You really did answer the question even beyond. It's really great to have these examples. And actually my next question was more on the younger generation of girls. So for girls like me who are passionate about learning more about the water industry, how do you recommend going about gaining hands-on experience? And obviously, like as you said, it is a challenge for women to get into the sector because they are underestimated by a lot of people.
Yeah, it's not just underestimated. I think that's too soft.
Yeah.
There's a lot of barriers women are facing.
Mhm.
And while we grow up in a role. Boys grow up in their role as future men, girls grow up as future women. And we already from the beginning have our inner barriers that we got implemented by our own cultures and our own families, our school environment, etc. So this is something that we have to be conscious about, that when we have the possibility to go to school, when we have the possibility to study and to pursue a career we want to pursue, then we are really blessed. Let's say it like this. Then we really have privilege because many can't. But when we are there, then we need to be very strong as women to not get ourselves distracted. And the thing is to have a clear focus on what you want to do. And if you don't know where you want to go, that's really the advice. Look for someone who can guide you. Look really for a mentorship. Look for a group of your students, your peer students, your alumni. Ask them what they have studied, what they want to do. Compare CVs you would like to have, and just dream big and really approach people with a profile you would like to have in 10 years. Go
Yeah.
to a senior person and ask them, how did you manage to get there? And then they tell you the different tricks and tips, and maybe they even would like to recommend you somewhere to go somewhere. And usually you can do it from starting from university. Approach your professors, older, approach older students, approach your um, people you met outside when you had a look around, maybe for an internship.
Yeah.
Approach these people and keep the contact and really get into networking and mentorship. Really, but you have to be active. Nobody's
Yeah.
coming for you. Nobody's waiting for you.
Mhm.
You have to go. You have to push. And so this is why these type of associations or networks that we have in the water sector are so important. When you have a look around the oldest professional associations in the sector, they were they are nearly 100 years old,
Yeah.
where engineers came together to meet and to exchange and to see, first exchange on knowledge, then exchange on companies or on career paths to enhance um, their own performance or to get advice what to do better and to learn new tasks and always to learn new tasks. That's something important. So get into networks, get into associations, find your counterparts. And you see it's a lot of fun to people to speak with people and network with people well, like you. It's really fun to have, because maybe your friends study other careers, so they might not really understand. Your parents are too worried about you. So it's really nice to have somebody who are like-minded. Find mind like how do you call it? Mind like
Good.
like-minded.
Like minded. Yeah, yeah.
Like-minded
Yeah.
people. And this can push you. You get a lot of energy out of it.
Yeah. And I think like for me, I'm very fortunate considering that my mom is very passionate about her job in the water sector. She talked about it a lot while I was growing up, and it's led me to my passion in this industry today. And I really do think that without her guidance, I wouldn't be here. And also me doing this interview series is also trying to guide other people and giving them this opportunity to hear from all these different kinds of roles. And
Yeah.
I think that a lot of people are just kind of clueless. I mean, like with a lot of things in life, you don't know where to start it, you don't know how to get into it. So, giving all these challenges and opportunities to, the viewers and just a normal person, what are some of
This
the small steps that they can do to make a difference in this water sector?
the start is really just to start, look around and to see, to have a vision. This is what we always say, have a vision. I want this.
Mm-hmm.
And look really at professional profiles. Now with internet, it's so easy. You look into job description and you look into the professional profile of a job description, and then you look, do I like it?
Mm-hmm.
Do I like this or do I prefer that? And can I do this or that? And then you find out what you like, and you can orient yourself much better when you have really have an idea how the job looks like at the end.
Yeah, so all of these, so I guess like, what I get from this is that, you find like-minded people, you find a mentor, and it kind of gets you into the flow of things because you are being guided by someone who has been in this industry for so long. Yeah.
Yes, and exactly, and look, there's so many different professions in this water sector, so it's open for everybody. But look, there are people who are in a laboratory who do measurements. Other go outside to the field and talk to clients or repair things. And then there are others who do social science research, while others go to university and do a research at university and become an academic. So you have everything there, anything that you can think of, and out for people who might give you insights and who give you inspiration. And that really helps. And never stop studying. Never.
Yeah.
That's something you always have to study. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, it might sound punishment for somebody who's at university right now. Never stop, but it's actually it's such a beauty to not stop learning.
Yeah.
It's a beauty.
Yeah, I really do find the beauty in learning. I think it's something that my mom has taught me over these years is that she's always reflected on her life, and she's told me about how even to this day she's still learning about her role and how to do things. And I really do hope I get to take that into my life, and maybe one day when I'm in her role I can continue to do that. And I think the beauty of having like the networks in these sectors is that you get to grow and learn together. And I think it does create more output and creates more of a strong community. Yes.
It does, definitely. And even when you're shy and you don't want to talk to people, do it. You
Yes.
have to. There are possibilities to do, and I definitely recommend these networking events.
Mhm.
Um, Now with my organization, the Women in Water and Sanitation Network, the networking events are so refreshing, are so giving so much spirit, and there's so many friendships who come out of
Yes.
this. Like not like the life growing friendships. It's these professional friendships, these peer friendships. And they are really encouraging. They're really helping you to get forward, to work on joint projects or to develop projects together, to learn more. So I really recommend networking, networking, networking.
Yes.
It's essential.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, without networking, we wouldn't really have all the communities we would have, and you know,
Yeah.
it really is a big world, and we need to find a way to connect with one another. And actually, that is all my questions.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for having me and for reaching out. It's been really fun talking to you.
Yes, you too. Thank you so much for being on here, and
Yeah.
hopefully you get to maybe meet up soon, maybe in a future
Yes, hopefully.
forum.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Yes, you're welcome. If you want to come and visit me, you're welcome here.